Hi, this is Dodger and you're watching my show. So I just finished up 2 days of table flipping, which was super fun. If you'd like to see the costume that I'm wearing in it, you can look on my Instagram and you'll see kind of a little sneak peek selfie that I took. Also, of course, when I say table flipping, I mean I was on the Game Grumps show Table Flip. So that's super exciting. I don't think that the episodes will be up for another month at least, but they're good. They were very fun, so I hope you guys enjoy them. Now, for our first piece of news, how many of you were still aware that Defiance is a thing? I personally had no idea. I read the headline, Season 3 of Defiance, greenlit by Sci-Fi, and my mind was blown because I didn't even know they hit Season 2. To remind those of you who totally forgot what this even is, like me, Defiance is a game, it is an MMO that is also aligned with a TV show that is on Sci-Fi. So they were developed at the same time. They were basically created with the idea of them being directly connected to one another. So the storyline is going to be exactly the same in both. They are going to affect one another, the setting, the characters, all of it. So the crazy part of this, right, is I was like, I wonder what the numbers for that show were like. I'm really curious to see because I assumed it was dead, but it's not dead. So I went to look. 2.7 million viewers on average every Thursday night for Season 2. Which is pretty crazy. And like, I don't know anybody who plays the game, you know, but I know that my dad every now and then watches the show because we're the sort of family that just turns on Sci-Fi Channel and then leaves it on all day. It's either Sci-Fi Channel or it's Food Network. That's it. So anyway, I know that he's watched quite a few episodes just because Sci-Fi Channel was on, you know? And he didn't really understand that it was connected with a game. He really had no idea about that. Which I also think is interesting. Sorry, I needed to burp just then. I thought that I could just plow right through it. Did not work. But yeah, to those of you who are still playing Defiance, the show got greenlit for a 3rd season, so that's super exciting for you guys. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just flabbergasted. I didn't know that this was still like a thing that was happening, especially since they are so reliant on each other, just by design, right? So you kind of need the show to still be around in order to have a Season 3 of the game. Although, didn't they originally say that they wanted the game to influence the show? So the game, whatever was going on there, would directly influence how they wrote the show? So maybe Season 3 has already happened in the game, and now they're gonna make the show of Season 3. Anyways, that's cool. I'm actually glad that it's doing well because it was kind of a gamble, you know? Sci-Fi said, let's try to make a game show. Not a game show, that was the wrong word. Let's try to make a show that's tied in with a video game. And it's worked out. It's worked out all right for 3 seasons. That's nothing to sniff at. Here's something interesting that I wanted to talk about. Apparently, in the US specifically, we are using game consoles more than anything else in order to stream our media. Now that's pretty crazy, right? It's crazy to me because that implies that so many people have game consoles in their house, regardless of age. That's not to imply that just everybody knows about streaming media at this point, because I know that's absolutely not true. There are plenty of people out there right now who are going, you can watch TV on your computer? But like, this implies a lot. Because we have smart TVs now. There are a lot of smart TVs out there, and smart TVs actually came in second, which also is crazy because the original thing that you would be able to watch this stuff on is your computer. And computers are not the 1st or 2nd place. Apple TV, Amazon Fire, Roku, like all that stuff, not in the running. So in my mind right now, right, in my mind palace, I'm trying to figure out how this would have occurred. And I don't want to assume it's something as simple as, well, there are kids who have game consoles in their house and then they use the game console to open up Netflix and then their mom or dad walks in and goes, what? And from then on, suddenly it's a technology bonanza and they learn exactly how to use everything on the game console and it just blows everybody's minds. I don't think that that's what's going on here. But more and more and more people are realizing that a cheaper, easier way to ingest the media that you want tends to be streaming, whether that's Amazon, whether that's Netflix or any other sort of option you have, Hulu if you're in the US, there are lots of ways for you to get exactly what show you want. And so learning how to use the devices that can make that happen for you, even if you want to ingest it in a more traditional fashion, like on your couch, right? Like, I think that's interesting. Any of you Blizzard muffins out there have probably heard about Project Titan, that it got shut down. Project Titan has been going on for years, for a long time now, and nobody really knew a lot about it. We didn't have any concrete information. It was very hush-hush, very secret. There were speculations about it possibly being an MMO of a shooting variety, which when we talked about that on the podcast, we were like, gosh, wouldn't it have been cool if it was World of StarCraft that they shut down? Wouldn't that just be the saddest thing in the world, that they had to shut that down? And basically the reason that they're shutting it down, apparently, is just that it wasn't fun. Remember last week when we were talking about Clang and how Clang got shut down and they were like, yeah, it just wasn't, I mean, it wasn't a fun game and nobody was behind it. That's not the case for Blizzard. I mean, Blizzard, they make a lot of stuff. They make a lot of really good stuff. So for them to say, this was not fun, we tried to fix it and we could not, is a big deal, I think. They've always been down to take their time. They've always been down to start from scratch, which they did. So the fact that none of that really helped, I mean, they probably made the right choice, just deciding, let's move on, let's do something else. But then again, the other rumor that keeps going around is, well, the only reason they shut down Titan is because Bungie got to it first. Implying that Destiny is exactly what Project Titan was going to be, which I highly doubt. There can be plenty of MMO shooters in the world without it scaring a company like Blizzard. And what I mean by that is that Blizzard makes good games. They know exactly what they want to make. And if they set out to make it and they're feeling good about it, a game like Destiny coming out is not going to scare them to the point that they're like, well, we're shutting it down! I think they legitimately were at a point where they went, nope, this isn't working. So let's move on to making something else that's super cool instead of wasting so much manpower and time and energy and love on a game that just isn't going to work. So there you go. Titan canceled. How many of you played Ryse Son of Rome? That many, huh? So Ryse was a hack and slashy game that came out with the Xbox One, and it had all of these weird like microtransactions in it, and every now and then there was QTE stuff, and people were just like, I mean, it's okay, it's alright, but it could be better. So in typical coming to PC style, a lot of stuff is being fixed, and you don't have to buy any of the expansions. So basically Ryse Son of Rome is coming to PC. They're taking out all of the microtransactions, so that doesn't even exist anymore, and all of the DLC that came out through the Xbox One is just gonna be in the game. So that happens a lot. This is why people are always like, I'm just gonna wait for the PC release, because there seem to be so many advantages to it, right? Not only is the game probably going to look incredible on PC, but also there's a high likelihood that you're going to get the game with all of the DLC that's come out at that point, and you're not gonna have to pay anything extra. It's basically like, if you just be patient for a little bit, you're gonna get everything that everybody else paid money for, which is weird. It's weird because I feel like they don't need to be giving us even more reasons to not use our consoles, right? Earlier today, we talked about how people are using their game consoles to ingest all forms of media, but specifically TV. We're now finally getting into this stage where good games are coming out, right? I've been using my Wii U every night for the last 3 nights so that I can play Hyrule Warriors. Fact. Can't wait for Bloodborne to come out, and I'm so excited that we have a PS4. Fact. So like, stuff is coming out. Stuff is going to be happening on these consoles, but the fact that like Bloodborne is coming out with 30 FPS, right? That's grinding everybody's gears. They're like, I'm just gonna wait for the PC version. And I'm like, no, this is what happens. This keeps happening. And look, I played Bloodborne and it was gorgeous, but people hear 30 FPS and they're like, nope, 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 nope. So I don't know. I don't know how to fix this problem. I like playing games on my PC, but there's like a niceness to playing it on console. You know? There's like a separation feeling where you're not completely tied in with all of the other stuff that's associated with your PC. When you sit down with a console, it's like, ah, boop, 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 boop. Oh yeah, in typical fashion, if you want to get Ryse, just wait for the PC version. Speaking of good games that have come out recently, and I know some of you aren't going to agree with me, but really I'm just speaking on behalf of Sam, because he loves Destiny so much. Apparently there's going to be a patch that will finally fix the loot problem. What I mean by this is that people are feeling like the loot that they get in relation to the sort of things that they are completing not really aligned very well. Also, for those of you who don't know, the loot cave was shut down, finally. The loot cave was basically this area where you could just like camp and shoot a bunch of dudes, run in, grab stuff, run out, wait for them to spawn, shoot a bunch of dudes, run in, grab stuff, run out. And it's become this weird way for people who are really high level, like that's the only way that they're feeling like they can advance because they need better gear, right? So they just grind for legendaries and exotics, which is super weird. But one of the big issues is that when you are fighting bosses, you don't feel like the loot you get is very well matched with the amount of work that you put in, right? So they've kind of like shifted a few things, they've changed some stuff around. I guess there's a lot of other things that they're planning on fixing, entirely based on everybody's reactions to the game. So I'm glad that it's looking like the game is doing pretty well for the sort of people who are really into like a grindy shooter game, right? Because that's exactly what it is. And the raids have been doing well, the dailies have been doing well. For the people who are playing it, they're perfectly happy. But I feel like the people who start out are feeling this weird grinding ramp that is not fun for them. So, you know, it's a game for a very specific type of person, but everybody's gonna be glad that the loot is being fixed a bit. Oh my god, the battery's about to die. Okay, let's get through this last one super quick. For our last piece of news, there's a Steam Music Player now. It's directly embedded into Steam. It's pretty cool. If you get on there and decide that you want to listen to some music, even if you don't have any music, any Valve games that you own or the Valve documentary, if you own any of those, then the music and soundtracks from those games are directly embedded into the music player. Also, if you've ever gotten a bundle through Steam that included a soundtrack, that soundtrack is also included in the music player. You can also, of course, import any music that you want, and then you can play that music while you're playing your games. It's pretty cool. It's really exciting. I think that it'll be pretty fun because that way you don't have to open up multiple programs and then have, you know, like Spotify playing a thing while you're playing a game, and then, you know, more applications means more memory being taken up and, like, things don't run as well, and that's it. But anyway, that's my show. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have a positive or a negative response, feel free to leave it in my comment section. And if you would like to have coffee with me, you can click wherever I put the annotation and it'll take you to our other channel, me and the cats. But otherwise, I hope that you guys have had an amazing week, and I will talk to you again on Sunday. Bye-bye! Mwah! You can watch TV on your computer